Okay, and welcome back. As you can see, I am working on the exhaust, and I'll zoom in here so I can show you. So what I did here, because this was going to be a nightmare of alignments, what I did is I glued the engine in first, and I glued the headers onto the engine, and as you can see there, the collectors there. Oh yeah, and it's also painted, the chrome color. So the collectors, oh boy, this one can't quite get in there and see. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I glued the headers and collectors on there so that I would have a solid thing that's not going to move, and let that dry thoroughly before I even tried to mount the exhaust. And then, when I got to that point, it was also going to be impossible to actually hold them where they're supposed to be. And oh yeah, also drilled out the ends there. I haven't painted those flat black yet, but I will get in there and do that. But to get these where they need to be and to stay there until the glue is dry, I made this template here, this piece of cardstock, just to hold them where they're supposed to be, if you get what I'm saying there. And the symmetry isn't exactly right, but as you can see, the symmetry just in general is all over the place the way the headers are set up. So anything close I'm going to accept. Now this has been drying overnight, and so I'm going to pull the card out there so we can see what we got. And there we are. So the you can see it's clearing now. It's perfect. Perfectly where it's supposed to be. We've got a storm. We've got a storm coming. Anyway, let me flip it over. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Let me flip it over so that we can see what it looks like. How it's hanging. Yeah, that'll do. And the other side. Absolutely. So that's what's happening with the exhaust. And boy, sorry if this has been a kind of a roller coaster ride to watch, but it is what it is. It's hard to film. Anyway, moving on. I've been adding to the interior, so let's see what I've got going there next. Okay, so here's a look at what I've been doing with the interior. As you can see, I have started adding sharks. And it makes perfect sense. So we have a bull shark driving. I should explain where these came from. So what these are, my wife brought these home. I was saying I need sharks that are going to fit in the seats on these little cars, and she came home with this bucket of sharks from, this is a collector's item now, Toys R Us, and it's the Animal Planet thing, where you get just a whole bucket full of them. And so I pulled out some and started adding them to the interior. Now, as you can see there, they don't have bottom halves, and that is because, man, there's no way to do it. Anyway, we're just looking for, you know, what they're going to look like from the windows. So you're going to be looking like from about that angle, or from the front. And that's what we're going to have there. And so the main driver there is a bull shark. And as you can see, he's married to a hammerhead. And that hammerhead is turned slightly towards him Reason being, what she is doing is criticizing his driving. And you know, hammerheads will do that. And in the back seat there, I've got the child, their offspring. I still have to work on him a little bit, but of course, you know, a bull shark and a hammerhead, when they have a baby, it's a mako. Don't try to figure that one out. That's just the way nature works. Bull shark and hammerhead make a mako. And so what we have here are shark figures that are going to be driving the shark-themed Cutlass 442 in the shark theme, and it is, you know, it had to be done. And now, so I've got a whole selection of sharks over there, but the big problem was, and when we first got this, we started going through this, and we were really shocked to find that there was no great white shark in there, and that was disappointing. And further study, we find that there is a great white shark in there, but look at the size of the great white, and they just call this great shark right there on the bottom. They didn't have enough room to write great white, but the great white shark is smaller than the bull shark and the hammerhead, and that's just not right. Oh, and you can see all the extra fish parts. I should explain. So what happened there, of course, if you were to just put these figures in here, here's another bull shark. If you were to cut them off and just stick them in there, their heads would be sticking straight up, see there? And same with the hammerhead. So what I had to do was cut a V out of the throat area, like a 45-degree V cut, and take that section out and bend it over and glue it, super glue it, so that they can look like they're kind of looking out the window. And so that's what I did there. That explains all these fish parts. But it doesn't explain why the great white is smaller than the regular sharks, because it of course is bigger than the other sharks. So what I ended up having to do, here he comes. Alright, let's bring this boy in there. Yeah, you know it, we got a specific great white just for this project. Now, it of course is a little too big, but I'm good with that. And what this was, this came from Michael's. It was a company called Safari Limited, and you've probably seen this. They're in their own little section there, and none of them are in bags, so it's hard to find one that hasn't been played with by every child that goes into the store. But I found one with very little damage, which is hard to do. They really should come in bags. Now, Safari Limited, if you happen to be watching, would it kill you to put these in bags? Now, they have a website where you can order them directly from them, and I imagine it comes in a bag. At the very least, it wouldn't be played with. And so it just came just like this, just with a tag around its tail. And as you can see, just everybody's been holding it by the top fin, and so it's got some shininess there from everybody's fingers. But it is what it is. I'm happy to have a great white, and there's, wait till you see some of these mock-ups. I'm gonna transition to those mock-ups right now. Here we go. Okay, and that's basically where we're at now. Really coming together, getting near the end. I'm going to be starting to work on the body now, and get all that bare metal foil onto the trim, and finish this thing off. Get the glass in, the mirrors, and bumpers and stuff. Also, I've got the bumper insert, the front bumper insert in there. You can see those little grill inserts are supposed to be black. Right there. See there? But of course, I went with shark color. So there's shark colored grill inserts there, and when the headlights are in, that's going to look really good, I think. And we'll get everything else in there, the radiator and so on. Yeah, coming together. Next update should be the final, I think. So that'll be cool. And you know what, probably I'm going to do a separate video just with this shark and the chassis. I'm going to get some high quality pictures on a green background so that I can do some chroma key and get it into some backdrops and do something really interesting with it. Maybe an undersea picture with the car and the shark and some other sharks, or a school of fish, or I don't know. But I'm going to have some fun there, so look forward to that. There'll be another video. Other than that, I wanted to mention something. So I've got this mess of stuff over here, and you're probably wondering what all this is. So what I've done is, yet again, I have started another channel, and so what I just want to mention it to everybody, because everybody is art inclined or craft inclined. This is a craft. Model cars is a craft, and so I think that everybody here is interested in art in some way or form. And so I've started a craft channel, and what it is, it's going to be a unique craft channel where I'm doing things that nobody's doing. So I'm trying to figure all this stuff out myself, because there really aren't videos on it, because it's not being done. So what the new channel is called Melted Creations, and some of you may already be subscribed to some of my other channels where I just very destructively melt all kinds of stuff, and it's more of a destructive, you know, type of a channel. But this is a creative channel where I'm going to actually be making projects and stuff like that. For example, this one right here, that is a CD, a smiley face. That's a CD within a whole bunch of DVD cases or cassette cases. I can't remember how I made that, but that's on my other channel, which is more destructive. It's called Something Else to Look At, and that was the break from destructiveness to creativity and everything. And I started doing a whole bunch of creative things, and it wasn't fitting on that channel, so I started a whole new channel where everything will be creative. And so all of this is polystyrene. All of these things, if anybody's wondering, those are silicone baking molds for making candies or chocolates or whatever on earth it is that you want to put in there. But they have a very high temperature tolerance, so you can actually melt plastic into them. And all of this clear stuff, this is all plastic knives and spoons and forks. And took a lot of experimenting, but I'm finally getting some progress, showing some neat things. Like, for example, this sun catcher here, that is the bottom of a soup can, where I just melted, I think it was 3 plastic forks into there. And the higher temperature gives you all the bubbles, and being a sun catcher, you want that in there. But you would want to go with a lower temperature to keep the bubbles out, which is what I did on some of these here. For example, that one right there, yeah, there's an example of one. Where we go? Right here. So there's one that I had better luck with. Quite a bit more clear because I cooked it at a lower temperature. And if you're wondering what on earth is in the tops of these, I was just experimenting around with all kinds of things. This one over here, those are BBs up in the top of those. And then these here are glass beads from, well, you know, for beading the glass beads there. Sets of glass beads and then the BBs. And like right here I was experimenting around with the idea of cat's eye. So clear plastic forks in there, melted in there, and then right around the end I just put a sliver of green plastic. And that is this green plastic that is from the thing I can't remember right now, oh, I can't remember the name of that kit, and it was the tarantula kit. So that's tarantula plastic, just a little sliver of it put in the middle of that Lego. And that was the first test with that. I think there's all kinds of things that can be done with that. And then other things where I was just doing, that's just paper inside, laminating inside a couple of plastic knives. You can kind of see the overall shape of the knife. And much, much more can be done. And so it's not going to be just this, it's basically going to be all craft projects that have to do with all this high temperature melting that's most people are going to shy away from because of toxicity and fumes and things like that. But I'm doing it all outside with the fan blowing away from me, so I'm doing it in a safe way. Oh, and then here's an example. This was an early example. That is white styrene. That's a white sprue melted into there, and I didn't quite have it figured out yet how to form the tips there inside those Lego molds. And so that is why that one's not fully formed. But I did finally figure out how to make them perfect. So anyway, if you're still here, you might be interested. But if you're not at all interested, I don't want this to be a type of thing where you subscribe over there just because you're my friend. I want you to be genuinely interested. There's going to be all kinds of things. It's going to be very widely diverse, but all having to do with plastics that are melted in with different media like metal and glass, which can be quite challenging. And I have to figure it all out myself because there's really not anybody doing it, and you'll get to see, especially early on, all the experimenting, all the failures. For example, if you cool it down too quick, the plastic cools down much faster than the glass and your tops will crack. And so you see some examples of that. Things like that you got to keep in mind, and I'm working out all the kinks, and by the time I really get it going, there's going to be some neat stuff. So please don't subscribe over there if you're not truly interested. I don't want you to do that. But if you got a curiosity about this and might be able to even give me some tips and tricks, anything that you figured out, or you see that I'm doing wrong or can be done better, let me know. But you know, I hope to see you over there if you're interested. But otherwise, just silently, just don't go over there. It doesn't matter. It's a brand new channel. I don't have any subs anyway, so it's okay. Anyway. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I know that a lot of you probably are only interested in this car, and I will get back to that. And I'll probably never mention that channel again on this channel. Just had to mention it to all you guys just in case you're interested. And so that will do it for this update. Next update is really, really going to look like something, because everything's going to come together. Pretty exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and y'all have a good one.